with strawberry candy, don't you?
When I said it, no, but now that you said it, it doesn't sound too bad.
It does sound like a good idea.
It's not a judgment upon you. It's a no one can actually multitask, like truly multitask. Like truly multitask doesn't exist.
When you're also doing something.
You'll lose out on one of those two.
I feel like our generation, just because of this, is so much better at multitasking.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm saying like if you talk in color, one's gonna be more like the just coloring's gonna be more efficient. Is that right? That's right. Which one? Where? Longitudinal study? Yeah. So time series data is the data collected, accumulated in the longitudinal study. It's got a special name for it. Okay. So the difference between cross-sectional study and longitudinal study. This would be, you would do one of these types of studies if you're concerned with something that evolves over time, okay, or exists over time. If you're just interested in the feeling of the moment, you don't have to do any of these two, okay? So what's an example of a question we could ask for this? No, a really good one of this would be like marijuana use in health. Okay? Marijuana use in health. Right? There's two ways that you could study this. Right? I'll start off with longitudinal study. Okay? And the way you do longitudinal study is, let's say I use you guys as my sample size. Okay? Or the grade 12 class is my sample size, whatever it is. I would start studying those people in grade 7. Right? Seems like a reasonable time to start studying that. Right? And I would follow you through your whole life until you're 60. Maybe every 2 years I check in with you, maybe every 5 years, whatever the segment is. Let's say every 5 years. From the time let's make it a nice easy number. So by the time you're 15 through you're 60. Every 5 years, I check in with you. We do a health assessment. We do this, we do that. We do research on you. Every 5 years, you come in, right? It's a longitudinal study, as in taking, like, you're seeing the long view of something. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, the data I get from that would be called the time series data. Now, that takes a long time, right? It's pretty efficient, depending on, you'd have to have multiple populations, because I would just want to have a population from one segment of life, like from Guelph, right? Because Guelph, that's not the same as being in Northern Ontario or in Alberta or so on and so forth. Now, if I didn't have that time, I do a cross-sectional study where I would find there's 17 people or 24 people in this class. I would find 24 people who are the age of 15, 24 people 20, 24 people 30, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 60, and I'd survey all those people at the exact same time, and then draw my conclusions off that data. Do you see the difference between them? Right? I could do that study all at once. It's not as efficient though, because I really get to see the time and effect on Megan, let's say, right? Through the years, right? So that's the difference between longitudinal and cross-sectional. I think of cross-sectional, never mind. I think cross-sectional because I took kinesiology. When you think cross-sectional is like you cut a muscle and did you mostly take like you take a cross-section, you just cut it in half and you see the whole thing, right? All at once. Where this, the other one there is the opposite. Okay. Yeah, write those down. Yeah. I'll zoom out a touch so you can get it all in. There you go. We're back to qualitative and quantitative data. Don't, yeah, well, discrete is over here now. Okay, that's why it's cross. Ordinal, that's continuous, that's discrete. So discrete goes with quantitative, if that makes sense. Because discrete is an absolute number. So an absolute number would go with quantitative because it's quantity. Nominal. So stripe out the discrete and write nominal. And the example, write ordinal. Did anyone else wear fun socks today?
I almost did, but then I was like, that's too much rap.
Okay, Fun Sock Friday. Stamping it.
I wore socks yesterday and you didn't even say anything.
Well, I don't go looking at your socks.
I had honeybees on them.
Well, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, I
I'm-
agree with that.
I have Justin Bieber socks.
Do you?
I'll wear my seals with bow ties tomorrow.
Okay. If that's all I do to disappoint you guys, I think I've done okay.
What? I'll compliment myself.
Yes. Like if that's your beef with me, I'm fine with that.
The W with the Y in the word.
Yeah. Where are you? Yeah, data with no natural order. Correct. So hair color, there's no natural order to hair color. But like months of the year, there's a natural order. Sorry.
Mr. Oak, for
Yep.
the nominal one,
Yep.
it's Nichols' hair color, but doesn't it have a natural order?
No. Like in natural order, it means like you know that November is before December, right? But there's no like order of hair color that naturally exists. You can't predict without knowing a genome,
Yeah, exactly, but once you know the genome.
but we don't know the genome, right? Like everyone knows months of the year, days of the week,
The alphabet.
alphabet type thing, yeah. Now, when we talk about it mathematically, they may have a different definition scientifically, if that makes sense. Don't write down the bottom part in blue. So, qualitative, quantitative, right? Qualitative isn't numerical. Quantitative contains numbers. So, favorite color, favorite candy, favorite sports team, so on and so forth, right? Favorite movie, qualitative. It could be nominal data with no natural order, right? Hair color, eye color, things along those lines. And it may be like months of the year, correct? Or months of the year, days of the week, or so on and so forth, right? Data with numbers, so height would be quantitative, okay? But then within that, you have continuous or discrete. I'm going to wink at you for no apparent reason about tomorrow.
Which one?
Continuous or discrete. Understanding the difference between continuous or discrete. I'm not telling you about that.
Do you have like a stroke over there? That's all this has.
I'm not telling you something about continuous. It was on Monday. It was Monday's first lecture. They talked about continuous or discrete. So, discrete means something can be described as a whole number or restricted decimals, as in it ends, right? A decimal place that ends, correct? Shoe size, number that ends, right? Money, number that ends, right? There's only two decimal places of money, right? It ends. Height, hypothetically, has no real end, or length. That's why pi is so friggin' long, right? It just keeps going because it's actually a measure of length. No, because you could always get more fine, more fine, more fine, more fine. It's like time, right? Time could be like hours done, but then it gets more fine, more fine, more fine, more fine. I am. Oh, 5 minutes. Is that the choice form? I just think about it. Yeah, come back in 5:10. We'll be good to go. All right, let's jump to here. I'm going to take away your answers, and we're going to do it together. How do we feel about quantitative, qualitative? Right? Discrete has an end. Continuous does not. Okay? So here we go. So here's the thesis question. Okay? Conditions influence school-age children. Right? We talk variables, we're talking. Oops, where's my mouse? When we talk variables, we're talking about qualitative or quantitative variables, okay? Up here is not, oh, sorry, I'm looking, let's do it here. These are not variables. These are collecting, like who you're collecting, how you're collecting it, right? Where this is the variables that you're kind of looking at, okay? What two variables would we expect to gather about this? Qualitative, good. Can you get more specific? No, probably answers I have my sheet. You guys may not get. And that's fine. Okay, because you guys might look at it from a different. What qualitative things could you maybe looking at? What home conditions influence school-age children in selecting a future career? There's 2 words in there that kind of pop what you want to get.
Age.
So home conditions, right? What? Right? That'd be a population question, right? And future career. Oh, that's a horrible C. Okay? And those are both qualitative. What's the population that you're going to be looking at here? School-age children. Good. Yeah, you can, right? It's a good practice to identify it. Right? If I could improve one part of my teaching, I know there's tons of parts, but I wish I could like steal Sophie's penmanship. I think my class would be so much happier with me. My writing, yeah.
Justin Liu. Writes like a printer.
Pardon?
Justin Liu is the best penmanship I've seen on television.
Yeah. Between Sophie and Hope.
Hope's is good.
Yeah. Hope reminds me of a student who I went to school with. We called him a test tube baby because he was just friggin' Brendan Smith could do everything. We told him that he didn't actually have parents. Yeah, he was like perfect at everything. It was annoying.
Is he an athlete?
Oh yeah. So he's a great guy. We were friends.
Maybe he was a test tube baby. Maybe you're on something.
Yeah. Okay.
Perth National Institute.
Would you collect a sample or conduct a census?
Sample.
Right? There's no real wrong answer here.
Well,
You could
I feel like you can't ask every single school-age child in the world.
correct.
It doesn't specify in the thesis, right?
Correct, but you could define your population, right?
That's what you're gonna do sample.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. I would be like school-age children, then into older people.
Oh, I thought this was just like for one school.
You're right. But you see how you
But
see
if
it.
it was like
If it,
entering one like
yeah.
school, it would be census.
Yeah, if you define your population as one school,
Yeah.
right? Less time, okay?
So would that be wrong if you said census?
No, as long as you argued it properly. Okay? Now the key with a sample is if done properly, you get the same answers. Okay? As if you were to do a census, right? But it depends on like that's a kind of a faulty question for that because a census, a sample from Guelph will be very different from a sample in Nova Scotia, right? Of future careers because the careers that exist in Nova Scotia, right, might be different from here.
Just like a question, so say this was a question on the assignment or something, like say we had a test, so it says identify the population, would you then want us to not just write school-age children, but also specify?
No, you don't know. That's all it said. Okay. Now for this one, what would work better, cross-sectional or longitudinal?
It would take longer, but I'd say the second one.
The longitudinal, right? Good. Okay.
Because you have the data from their home environments when they were younger, and you have like sort of first-hand experience in knowing that, not just like a.
Yeah. So we're right there. So longitudinal. So you're looking at the home conditions influence school-age children's future career. So following those school-age kids would give you the most accurate results.
I feel like you could argue that
You could, yeah.
because you would talk about their childhood and then you would just link back to another child.
But
Now, I will tell you right now, you could argue both of these, and as long as you argued it correctly, I'd mark you correct. Right? There are strengths and weaknesses to each one.
But I don't understand why it'd be long experiment because it wouldn't take that long because you're surveying just a sample of it, correct?
No, but
You're taking
the
school-age children and you're taking their home conditions as it is right now and then
Correct.
what they want to be in the future. So wouldn't it be short?
but there's the key word there.
Selecting, so you need to find out what they actually
What they end up in, right?
What they actually end up in.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like what they want to be.
Yeah. So selecting, but even that, like this could start from like grade 5, let's say, and go till age 20.
Because they already have their future career. Is that what you're trying to say?
Hypothetically, they've selected their future career, although statistically they probably won't end up there.
Oh, I was just
Right.
thinking that it was asking that in the moment, like what they want to be. So like if like you said grade 4, oh he wants to be a firefighter.
Yeah. Yeah. But this statement here leaves a lot of questions. Like it's a very simple statement where I'm glad you're thinking deeper into it, right? So just think about the simple statement, although like you're thinking, oh, what about this, what about this, what about this? It makes a lot of sense. Generally, I think the stats was like when I was going through university, like in the like late 90s, 2000, is like the average person has 5 careers, right? Now, it's even got more diverse than that because a lot of companies do contracting instead of hiring. Like they'll contract you for a certain amount of time, contract you for a certain amount of time, right? So you get contracted out, and who knows, like after this contract, before the next contract in the same field, you might need something, so you go somewhere else. Or, like for example, I have a friend who went through school for criminology, who's now like a lead person within the Cooperators Insurance, right? It's not the same. Like she didn't go criminology. Like my future career is in criminology, but she ended up over here, right? So, and a lot of times, like you go to university, you may enjoy that task, but then like it takes you a different way. Like life takes you a different way, or so on and so forth. So what I'm saying is like what you enter university for some people it'll be what you come out of university and do, and for some people it may not be, and that's perfectly fine. It's not a bad thing by any means.
Oh no, I feel like my cousin, they moved to Germany, and they're in grade 4, and in Germany in grade 4, you have to like,
Declare
you figure like,
your field.
career path in grade 4.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which I really like in some ways. We can talk about the German school system, which I like in some ways, but I don't like in some ways. Like for some kids in school right now in this building, not in this room, but there's some kids who really want to go in the trades, who shouldn't need to go to school for 4 years. Like they just want to go work. Who they could get really good education for 3 years, then send them to college for 2 years, and they'd be excellent tradespeople. And there's so many kids who drop out of school, not because they're not gifted, not because of something going on, it's because it doesn't connect with them. They could. Callum, and then we're done.
Okay, with cross-section, does that only apply to age, or is that other things? Because, like, I'm thinking exit polls, right, where they're like, well, 13% of Hispanics think blah, 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 blah.
That would be a different type of cross-sectional. Like we frame cross-sectional as in
Age.
like time, but you could do a cross-sectional as in like a societal group. Does that make sense? Okay. So you follow the same kids and see where they end up.
But you can still learn from cross-section.
Okay. You guys have homework to complete now? 1 through 5, the odd ones. Okay. It's in your homework folder.
Are we gonna go for a walk after we're done the homework?
Yep. And then we're going to do bias, which is not going to take too long.
Hi. This girl here is going to be a TikTok famous thing.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
I was TikTok famous last year.
Were you?
Yeah.
With one TikTok?
Yeah, with the
You
arc.
should make one when you're going for your walk. This is what I put here.
2D?
With this.
Oh, math course teacher.
With this class, you could do a TikTok on.
So what do we want to do?
What do you think? You just put it down. A math course teaching alongside the walk as you would like to.
Like, do we want to take on the de-streamed? Do we want to pick a course where the kids struggle the most? Like, what's the worst math course?
Well, I guess what to understand it.
Not university functions.
Great
What?
job, database. Great job, database.
Hey, happy birthday. Is it your birthday? Was it yesterday? Are you in,
Pavona Rod.
Yeah, it was Jake's birthday.
how come I saw a picture of you on Facebook? When I posted this.
How come? Yeah, that's a good question. How did you see a picture of her on Facebook?
Was it maybe a graduating picture?
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway.
Mr. Rose, I don't know.
Brian, refresh. It should be there.
So I'm gonna let you decide what course to take to teach, and we're gonna do it together. But there's a lot of.
It should be there. Let me put it up here right now.
Is that good for me?
Yeah, but what? I was gonna say we should have a discussion. Like, what's the course where kids fail the most? Is it 2P? Like, is that where? Where?
We already have this bar, like we already have a great curriculum with Suzanne Hedman. We have a great.
Okay. Okay.
We could do that easily. But what if there's only one course of 2P in that semester? Like we have to also look at
Yeah.
how many like we want 2 courses in that.
There's gonna be lots of 1P, like not 1P, grade 9.
Right. I know that Natasha wants to teach grade 3.
And that's gonna be one where the question is there. Do you think other people would hop on the bus? Like if we're gonna spend time like thinking and so on and so forth and diving into it.
Have a meeting with Diane.
Diane. Okay.
I can put this in the.
Yeah, I'll talk to her.
I think it looks good though, doesn't it?
Yeah, you had 2D down there, and we'll figure out the last one.
The right code MTN.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And MCR 3.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I am.